20 years ago was the last time we had 3 Sefer Torah on Parshas Mishpatim. The concept of having 3 Sefer Torah that we take out happens for sure minimum once a year. That's Simchas Torah. We take out 3 Sefer Torah. The first Sefer Torah is V'zayis HaBracha, the second Sefer Torah is Bereshis, and the third one, Mafter. It could happen 3 other times a year. It never happens 4 times in 1 year. The most that it would happen is 3 times maximum. But the other 3 times, one is Shabbos Chanukah, if it falls out to be Rosh Chodesh. So we have the Parshas HaShavua, which is usually Miketz. This year was actually Vayeshev. We have Shabbos Rosh Chodesh, and we have also Chanukah. Another time would be Rosh Chodesh, Parshas HaChodesh, which you have the Parshas HaShavua, you have Rosh Chodesh, and you also have HaChodesh. And the fourth time that it happens, which is now Parshas Shekalim, Shabbos Rosh Chodesh Shekalim, you have the Parshas HaShavua Mishpatim, then you have Rosh Chodesh, and we also have Shekalim. 3 Sefer Torah. In today's Shiur, Bais Hashem, we're going to go and try to clarify the halachas and minhagim that are negeya to 3 Sefer Torah b'chlal, and in particular to 3 Sefer Torah that are negeya to this week, the Parshas Shekalim. If you want to continue learning, it's open, the office over there. The Shulchan Aruch here in Seder Arba Parshas Tafresh Pehei, the Shulchan Aruch begins Rosh Chodesh Adar Hasamach LeNisan Shechal Yos B'Shabbos Koyrim Parshas Shekalim, and you take out Dr. Shulchan Aruch, you take out 3 Sefer Torah. Take out 3 Sefer Torah. Why do we take out 3 Sefer Torah? Why can't you just use 1 Sefer Torah and be goylel? Ever thought about it? Why can't you take a 1 Sefer Torah even when it's a Shabbos or Chodesh? You should take a 2 Sefer Torah. I always thought like that also, Tircha de Tzibura. To get more Hagbas and Glila. The Gemara says, what did it say?
It's just as long as the switch ends there, not one, right?
Especially we'll see soon also that sometimes it's not so far. Let's see. Tircha de Tzibura, good point. Labais, if you take a look at the Gemara in Yuma, the Mishnah says that the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur used to read from the Torah. Part of it was inside the Torah and part of it was al peh. Zok the Gemara, why does it part of it have to be al peh? It was 2 different places. Why part of it al peh? Why can't you be goylel? Frek the Gemara, be goylel to the second place. So the Gemara says, the Lashon HaGemara.
Isn't there also a Gemara
That's a shaila for itself. I think even the Gemara speaks about it. We'll leave that. That's not the discussion. But the Gemara says that the second kriya was al peh because it was going from one place to the other. The Gemara says, why can't you be goylel? Why can't you be goylel the Torah from one place to the other? The Gemara says, she'ein goylel and sefer Torah b'tzibur v'pnei kavod tzibur. It's not a kavod at tzibur. What's not kavod at tzibur? So it could be, I didn't look around at all the Rishonim, could be one of the reasons. Taka tircha de tzibura. Rashi says, shiyu, it's not kavod tzibur, that the shiyu mitzapim v'doim lakach. Doim spaces out and waits. Not so much tircha de tzibur. It could be means tircha de tzibur. It means that it's not a kavod at tzibur, that the tzibur has to wait around while you're being goylel, shiyu doimim, waiting, spacing out, doing nothing while the goylel the Sefer Torah. Therefore, in the Gemara and Yuma, the Mishnah, the second kriya of the Kohen Gadol was al peh, not befrim, not to have to be goylel. And Memela comes out our din that we take out 3 Sefer Torah. We take out 3 Sefer Torah not to be goylel.
Well, that's why they did take out a second Sefer Torah there also. You say al peh.
Oh, that's a shail for itself to be moitzi. I think even the Gemara asks, the Gemara says, it's a shail attack. You should have taken out a second Sefer Torah. L'maisa, over there, being that we didn't take out a second Sefer Torah, but we wanted to read it, so it was al peh. What comes out of Moiri to get in from this? That the reason why we take out 3 Sefer Torah is not l'shem kedushas 3 Sefer Torah. We take out 3 Sefer Torah for a practical reason, not to be goylel. If that's the case, that just not to be goylel, zok the bir halacha. This is in by Siman Tafresh Samach Tes by Simchas Torah. That you only take out 3 Sefer Torah if you're not going to have to be goylel. This is important to know, whether if you have 3 Sefer Torah on a week that these 2 Sefer Torah, or this week's shuls that only have 2 Sefer Torah. If your Sefer Torah are not in the right place, you have 3 Sefer Torah, but one of your Sefer Torah you never were goyel since Sukkos. So it means you're going to take out the Sefer Torah and then you're going to stop being goyel. Once you're doing that, rather don't take out 3 Sefer Torah or 2, take out 1 and be goyel. Be'etzim, really you should take out 1 Sefer Torah and be goyel rather than take out another one, like the Halacha explains. Be'etzim, it's Mavir and ala mitzvahs. You take out a Sefer Torah, Makayim, Krias, HaTorah, and then you stop with the first one to go to the second one. That's Mavir and ala mitzvahs. You're going from 1 Sefer Torah to the next. Nor vos, als kavod tzibur, that people shouldn't have to sit and wait around. We are Mavir ala mitzvahs, kedei not to have the tzibur waiting. But if the olam is going to wait anyways because you're being goyel, if for whatever reason you weren't goyel, you're not in the right place, take out 1 Sefer Torah and be goyel.
Why is that called Mavar al mitzvah? If you used it already for its own mitzvah. Each Sefer, it's not like you're skipping that Sefer, like I pick up this Sefer, now I'm going to use that one.
You have a good point. First of all, the Halacha says it, but Zetzachos Mavar al mitzvahs doesn't mean how you're pointing out, like if you're supposed to put your talis before your tefillin, not to be Mavar al mitzvahs, to go, if your tefillin is first, it comes that you're skipping over. Lamaisa, you're saying over here, you're ready with koira. But if you're...
What are you saying? If there's 3 mitzvahs and you're not giving the Sefer Torah all 3 mitzvahs?
Yeah. What says you're not giving means once you're using 1 Sefer Torah, you should continue with that Sefer Torah. Continue going weiter with that Sefer Torah. Lamaisa, not to say it's so sharp that if you have 3 Sefer Torah but it's not in the right place, you should only take out 1. Yes, if you're going to have to be goyel, but as it's mavur, the Shiur brings it to Magen Avram, if you could be goyel a Sefer Torah during the... people don't have to wait, then you could do it. That's clear, which means, let's say you have 3 Sefer Torah, but the 3rd Sefer Torah is not in its right place, it's not in Shekalim, it's somewhere else. If you could be goyel that 3rd Sefer Torah, either how he says during Shachris, or even if let's say there's a place or Mishaberachs, there's a oifen that people don't have to wait, you could do that as well. But if it's in the wrong place and you're going to be goyel, you're going to make people wait, so then be goyel that Sefer Torah that you're using. The Aruch HaShulchan has a different reason why you take out 2 or 3 Sefer Torah, which maybe is even when you have to be goyel, you should still take out 2. The Lashon Aruch HaShulchan is Avala Yikra Shnei Dvarim b'Sefer Torah Achas Keseder. It seems like these episodes did not to read 2 in the same Sefer Torah. So Mela could be even if you have to be goyel, you still will take out 2 Sefer Torah. Being that be'etzim going from 1 Sefer Torah to another Sefer Torah is mavir and ala mitzvahs. The Minhag of Reb Nosson Adler, which was the Rebbe of the Chassam Sofer, the Minhag of Reb Shmuel Salant, was on a year that Shabbos Shekalim, not like this year, but a year that Shabbos Shekalim is 2 Sefer Torah, which means not Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. If it's not Shabbos Rosh Chodesh, because be'echad ba'adam hashmir al Shekalim, we reach Shekalim the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh. So you take out 2 Sefer Torah. What are the 2 Sefer Torah? One is the Parashas HaShavua, whatever week it is, and one is Shekalim. They only took out 1 Sefer Torah. Why? Because Shabbos Shekalim, which is Parashas Kisisa, is pretty close by to the Parashas HaShavua. Let's say for this week it's Mishpatim, Truma Tetzava Kisisa. It's pretty close by, and by the end of Mishpatim, you already only have Truma Tetzava to skip. It's a few Amudim. So they only took out 1 Sefer Torah.
It's the same reason as before, because they had room during Mishaberach.
So maybe it's close enough, very good. Be'etzem ein mavir ala mitzvahs. So really, it's not a din to take out 2 Sefer Torah. Really, you should use the same Sefer Torah, ein mavir ala mitzvahs. Now, we take out 2 Sefer Torah, not that the tzibur shouldn't have to wait. So very good if it's close by, during the Mishaberach, or during, right when he finishes the bracha, you go.
So why don't we only do 2?
Well, 1 second. And memele, and it's also a shtickle meduyik like that in the Shulchan Aruch. If you take we'll get to that in a second. The Shulchan Aruch starts off a week like this week that it's Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh, Shekalim, you take out 3 Sefer Torah. Then the Shulchan Aruch continues to the other Gimel Parashiyos, Zachar, Para, and Chodesh, 2 Sefer Torah. The Shulchan Aruch never says about this week to take out 2 Sefer Torah. It would be mashma maybe that you don't. Some want to say dafka if it's close by. It's a discussion in the Rishonim. They speak about maybe only when it's Parshas Tetzava, which never falls out. For us, it doesn't happen. But only Tetzava, because Tetzava, when you finish Tetzava, it's literally right there. You don't have to be goyel anything. But that doesn't happen Bizmaneinu, but that's a discussion in the Rishonim. Some say even in Kisisa, not, because then you have to go backwards. But Al Kaponim, some had the minhag to take out one Sefer Torah. However, Mi'idach, the Rambam in Perik Yud Gimel of Hilchas Tefillah Halacha Chaf Bais, the Rambam says, Kol Parsha Medalat Parshas Koyrim B'Sefer Sheni. All Dalat Parshas. But the Rambam says more of him, Hoya Seder Oisa Parsha Ki Sisa Atzmai Choyze V'Koyrim B'Sefer Sheni. Even if it's mamish close by. Over there some want to say it's because you have to go backwards. But Al Kaponim, the Rambam says you always take out two Sefer Torah. And Lamaisa, that's the minhag, more or less, by everybody to take out two Sefer Torah. Are you saying that Lamaisa, you don't have to be goyel? I don't have a clear answer.
Why does
but
the Shekalim not say that?
What to always take out?
By Shekalim.
It does.
It doesn't mention Shekalim.
No, the Shulchan Aruch doesn't mention Shekalim. Maybe that's a diak taka that the Shulchan Aruch holds that Yitaka don't take out two Sefer Torah. We'll see in a second why we were so busy with it. This is not negated this year, but Al Kaponim, if it's a Shabbos of Shekalim, you take out two Sefer Torah. Some had the minhag to take out one Sefer Torah. Orchas Rabbeinu Lakan, he brings that the minhag of the Chazon Ish was to take out two Sefer Torah. Though they bring a stira that some say that the Chazon Ish only took out one Sefer Torah, and the Meyashiv that it was 1 year that somebody in the shul was screaming, you should only take out one Sefer Torah because there's no need for two Sefer Torah, it's close by. So Mepnei Kvoida of that person, Mepnei Kvoida, he said, okay, take out one Sefer Torah. You take out two Sefer Torah. So you have Lakan. What is it Negeya for this year? So really it's not Negeya be a Seder. Why? Because this year you take out three Sefer Torah. What's the Seder of the Kriya? First is it's Todah v'Sheina Todah. First we read the Parshas HaShavua, which is every week. Then we read Rosh Chodesh, which is 12 to 18 times a year, a little less than 8, a bunch of times a year. Then comes the Kriya of Shekalim, which is only once a year, so Todah, that's the order. After Rosh Chodesh, from Rosh Chodesh, which is Parshas Pinchas and Bamidbar, to go back to Shekalim, that's a far ride, and therefore for sure you take out three Sefer Torah. But where's the Negeya? Why are we speaking about it in this year? It is Negeya, because many shuls only have two Sefer Torah. Some even only have one. But many shuls have two Sefer Torah, not three Sefer Torah. So if you have two Sefer Torah, you take out two. What do you do when you take out two Sefer Torah? Which do you read, which do you goyel? So we have, it's brought in Shulchan Aruch. And also by Simchas Torah, it's Mavur. Tafresh Samach Tes, the Ramah. The Ramah says that if you have two Sefer Torah on Simchas Torah, what do? First one, you kaira the first kriya, which over there is chas and Torah. The second one, chas abereshus. You want to know where to prepare it before. The third one, you take the first Sefer Torah. Ubitrai, that's that bir halacha that it was already niglal. You already turned from v'zois habracha to mafter. Because if you weren't goylel it, once you anyways have to be goylel, use the second Sefer Torah and be goylel from bereshus all the way to the mafter. Once you're being goylel, be'etzem nizei mavir nala mitzvahs. Teretz is the tzibur. So anyways being goylel, be goylel. So Mamela, let's take a look in this week, and this is very negay. Your shul might only have two Sefer Torah. So what do? First Sefer Torah is what? Is Mishpatim. Second Sefer Torah is Rosh Chodesh. Third Sefer Torah, you only take, if you don't have a third, you take the first one only like it's Mavur, only if it was Niglal. So if you could work it out to be goyel when you have time during a Misha Berach or something is good. 1 second, a second I want to hear. But if you weren't goyel as we saw, you don't go back to the first, no another Hag Ben Galila, you just goyel the Rosh Chodesh Sefer Torah. But it's negeya, this concept that it's close by, even if you weren't goyel, to take the first Sefer Torah, because the first Sefer Torah boss is going to be Mishpatim. Second Sefer Torah, third Kriya, Shekalim is Kisisa, it's close by. So the fear of Nasan Adler, you would take the first Sefer Torah, even if you weren't goyel. Again, if you could figure it out, it's such a short being goyel, and if there's a mishaberach l'chaylim, you can work it out to be goyel. Avada, you for sure go back l'kul alma.
Tell the goyel to roll three amudim before he picks it up. That's cool. He was goyel to the right place.
That's interesting. Our way is saying to be goyel then lamaisa. Yeah, lamaisa it's moved.
Anyway, the guy does hag is always rolling his.
So tell him to be goyel then.
What are you saying? That's isn't that what you just said?
No, I said that if there's time, let's say when you make a mishaberach, or anyways you could be goyel in a way that people, that tzibur doesn't have to wait and be doimim, then you should do it.
The second.
No, after you're holding now by the third Sefer Torah, but you don't have a third one. Right. So you take the first Sefer Torah if the first Sefer Torah was already niglal, not to make the tzibur wait. So I was saying Lafirim Nasan Adel that on a regular year you only take out one Sefer Torah because it's not considered making the tzibur wait. Over here also you would take the first Sefer Torah. I have to be goyel 3 amudim. That's not considered making the tzibur wait.
But even according to the Rambam,
but
you only have 2 Sefer Torah.
That's true, but is it not considered us that we take 2 Sefer Torah? Is it, why do we take a second Sefer Torah? Because even a few amudim is considered being goyel. So I don't know exactly if your eitz is a eitz. Before Hagbal, let the person be goyel. It's 20 seconds of time. So when the Gemara says Shalo Yu Daimim Rashi, 20 seconds of time is okay Daimim? I don't know.
The Rambam never said anything about
you're going to have more time. You're going to be going for all the
Very good point, Menachem. You're right, Taka. You're Taka right that it'll be a longer wait. But Lamai says Eimar Vir and Ala Mitzvah. Stay with the Sefer Torah and Taka. It's a longer time. You're Taka right. But Eimar Vir and Ala Mitzvah. What were you saying?
No, but
so Tzibur overrides.
I don't know. It's a longer shear of weight. She's saying for sure over here.
The Rambam Shita had nothing to do with waiting. The Rambam Shita was that you have to have 2 Sefer Torah.
The Aruch HaShulchan, the Rambam, I don't know, because the Rambam speaks about even a Kisisa itself, but that's because you don't go back. It could be the Rambam would agree if the Krias HaTorah of the Parshas HaShavuos Tetzaveh, and you finish right there, it could be he would agree that you take 1 Sefer Torah. It's not muchach from the Rambam what's over there. It could be over there. You don't have to wait b'chlal, and you don't have to take it. Avada, maybe the Rambam would also agree that you only take 1 Sefer Torah because ein mavir in all mitzvahs. Good Arataka, I hear if you cheshbon with the shear of how long the waiting, if the second Sefer Torah, to cheshbon by Simchas Torah also, but if could be ein mavir in all mitzvahs. Once the tziburs are already waiting, so to how much to wait? Once they're waiting, they're waiting. Good. So we have 3 Sefer Torah, 3 Sefer Torah. If you're in a shul that has 2 Sefer Torah, you take a 2 Sefer Torah. Zok the Shulchan Aruch. This is the Ramah at the end of Siman Kuf Mem Zayin Hilchas Krias HaTorah. You take out both Sefer Torah right away. Yeah, that's what we know, we're accustomed to. You take out both Sefer Torah, all 3 Sefer Torah right away. Lafuke, you need 3 Sefer Torah. You don't take out the second one and the third one when you need it. You take them all right away. Zokta Yaivitz, that the one who takes out the second Sefer Torah, he should really be the one holding and not give it over to somebody else. Because then it looks like the Sefer Torah is like a lachatz for him, a masa to hold it. So you take out the Sefer Torah, and it's better that the person that gets the second, whoever does psich, whoever takes the second Sefer Torah, he should hold the Sefer Torah till mafter, or till 3 aliyahs will get to it, 3 Sefer Torah will get to it exactly the Seidah Dvarim. What's about putting down the Sefer Torah? Some shuls have a place that you could put the Sefer Torah, that have 2 holes, it's safe to put down the Sefer Torah. So Rav Moshe has a tshuva, he's against it. He says it's not a covered Sefer Torah to put it down over there. At kedei kach zok Rav Moshe, that if there's not going to be somebody to hold the Sefer Torah, the second and the third Sefer Torah, rather don't take out the Sefer Torah in the beginning, take it out later, than to take it out and put it down in those place with these holes, or to put it down on a table, on a bima. If no one's going to hold the Sefer Torah, take out the Sefer Torah later. Mi'idach, the Das Sofer writes that the minhag of his grandfather, the Ksaf Sofer, they used to do that whenever they took out a second Sefer Torah or a third Sefer Torah, they had a place kavua by the bima. Obviously, there's a discussion. It can't be the same height as the bench over there. It has to be done ba'oifim covered. But they had a place where they put the Sefer Torah. And he says the reason for that is because the person that's holding the Sefer Torah is hard for him to be mechavan to Krias HaTorah. So maybe they had a place. Good. So we have a shiloh, those that have the minhag taka to put the Sefer Torah down. You took out all Sefer Torah, you have 3 people holding it, 2 people holding it, 1 on the beam, a gavaldik. You take the first Sefer Torah, you open it up and you realize you made a mistake. It's not Parshas Mishpatim, it's Rosh Chodesh. So what do you do over there? So the halacha is, on a regular week, you take out a Sefer Torah, and you have, let's say a week that Rosh Chodesh was Friday, you have a few Sefer Torah, and you didn't realize you took out the Sefer Torah of Rosh Chodesh instead of the Parshas HaShavua. The halacha is, you're not allowed to put it back and take out the one that's Parshas HaShavua. B'nei kavod HaSefer Torah, because if you put it back, people are going to think that the Sefer Torah is possible. Yeah, very negayah, some chas Torah, by mistake you take out Shabbos Parshas Bereshis, you take out the Sefer Torah of V'zois HaBracha, and it happens. So now you have to be goyel from V'zois HaBracha till Bereshis. You have to do it. You can't put back the Sefer Torah. Yes, it's tircha d'tzipru. You have to wait to be goyel the whole Sefer Torah. But l'maisa, out covered Sefer Torah, you're putting it back. People are going to say that it's a possible Sefer Torah. This week that you took out the 3 Sefer Torah, and by mistake you put on the bima, the Rosh Chodesh, you opened it up. So what do you do over there? Is mavur that you could, it's pri megadim, and the Halacha brings it from other achronim, you could close up that Sefer Torah, take and put it back to the person that's holding, and take the one that's the right Sefer Torah mishpatim. Why? Because you... very good, Gavaldik, no one's going to think, Taka, very good, like you're saying. Why? Because we're going to learn from that Sefer Torah also. So maybe if you make a mistake, you could put back that Sefer Torah, not into the Aron Kodesh, but switch it with one of the other Sefer Torah, you save time.
So here's another shiloh of Tircha Tzibura. Which one is more? The changing or the rope?
Or putting, because Lamaisa, you have the Tzibur's doimim while you're goyla from V'zois HaBracha to Bereshis, not to think that the Sefer Torah is not even Vayish Sefer Torah. Yeah.
I'm saying changing, giving the Sefer Torah back to the person who's holding it and taking out the other Sefer Torah and opening that one. Or you could just roll over to the place.
Which is faster, and what's if it's mamash from Shekalim? Yeah, that I don't know.
The next one you have to go back.
Back also. You're saying, do you cheshbon what takes quicker, what's faster to switch around?
Once they're in.
3 is loved after though, right? Same thing would happen any Shabbos Rosh Chodesh.
Yes. Shkoyach for pointing that, definitely. Avada, Shabbos Rosh Chodesh also. 2 Sefer Torah, you by mistake took the Rosh Chodesh instead of the Parashas HaShavu. You could switch it around because you're using both Sefer Torah.
It wouldn't happen though.
What'd you say?
If you would be goyel this one, then you wouldn't lean the other one.
No, then you... Because then
Tircha... be goyel, so you would just stay to this one. So then everyone would think it's possible.
Right, so that's why, but you could switch... No, but I'm saying you could switch to the other because you're going to use this one also. Lamaisa, regular week, you have Shabbos Rosh Chodesh, Shpatim and Rosh Chodesh. So you're going to...
You can be goyel this one and then
use the other one, because then you're not going to, because you have to be goyel. Yeah, means if you're going to be goyel this one, then you're going to have to be goyel back also. And chanami taka. How many aliyahs? How many aliyahs this week? So first of all, the minimum. What are the minimum amount of aliyahs? There's a machlokes in the Gemara on every Shabbos. How many aliyahs? We know the chiyuv aliyahs on Shabbos is 7. Yom Tov is 5, Shabbos is 7 aliyahs. There's a machlokes in the Gemara of mafter is oilam and aminyan. Is Pshat mafter, we read not to think that HaTorah is the same chashav as the aliyahs. Is it oilam and aminyan or not? In other words, is it 7 plus 1, or it's oilam and aminyan sachakol 7? The Shulchan Aruch says the minhag is to do 7 besides the mafter, which means we have 8 aliyahs. Though the Mishnah Brura and the Halacha and the Sharet Tzion, the Chavetz Chaim is bringing around a few Sefer Torah, but he says 7 aliyahs in total. And after Rabbi Chaim Kinevsky says B'shas Adchak.
That would be included with Scheiner and...
Oh, we're going to get to that in a minute, one minute. So in a regular Shabbos, either 7 or 8, the minhag is to do 8. So if the minhag is to do 8, which means 7 plus the mafter, what would be this Shabbos that we have 3 Sefer Torah? You have 8 aliyahs, which means you have 6 of Parashas HaShavua, 6 in Mishpatim. The one who gets Shishi gets till the end of the Parasha. The 7th aliyah is Rosh Chodesh, and the 8th aliyah is Shekalim. So if you do every week, which most people do every week in their shul, they do 8. 7 plus 1. This week you'll do 6, 1, and 1. Those that do 7 in total, which means mafter is also a chelik of it, 7 in total, what would they do this week? They'll do 5. The one who gets chamishi goes till the end of the parsha. Number 6 is Rosh Chodesh, number 7 is Shekalim. So what we do 8, it's 6, 1, and 1. If you do 7 in total, then it's 5, 1, and 1.
So that there's only 7, and that includes mafter, that means that the person who has Shavi gets till the end and then mafter repeats it, or the person who has Shavi just goes till mafter, then mafter is the last few.
You're talking about on a regular week? So on a regular week, there's really only 7 aliyahs. Oh, you want to know if the Shvi... No, the Shvi is already the last aliyah. The Shvi is the last aliyah.
And Shvi is mafter.
That's right. Shvi is mafter. Exactly. Yeah. The Rivash, in Shuvas Rivash, he brings the above 2 Minhagim for this week. Either a total of 7, which means 5, 1, and 1. Or a total of 8, like what we do on a regular week. So it's 6, 1, and 1. Then he brings a third minhag, which is 9 this week. 9. How do you get to 9? 7 of Parshas HaShavua, 1 and 1. Why? So he explains, because every single week we have 7 aliyahs of Parshas HaShavua of the Chiyuv besides the Mafter. So this week also to have 7 of Parshas HaShavua besides the other aliyahs. So Mamela, this week will come out to be 9 aliyahs. 7 of Parshas HaShavua, 1 of Rosh Chodesh, and 1 of Mafter. So the Rivash brings 3 minhagim, either a total of 7, which means 5, 1, and 1, a total of 8, which is 6, 1, and 1, and even some that do 9, which is 7, 1, and 1. There are those that have a minhag every Shabbos to do 9 aliyahs, which means Chaim shuls have it. They do, I'm not talking about to do a lot of Isafas, but every week they have Achron. There's a Chasam Sofer about it. It's ain't come a to discuss it, but they have 7 and an Achron, then a Mafter, which they do 9. So this week they don't have to do more than 9. They just do 7 of the Parshas HaShavua. The Rosh Chodesh is, so to speak, the Achron, and then they have the Mafters that have 9. This is the minimum amount. What's the maximum? Could you have, how many aliyahs could you do? 25. On a regular week is Mavur and Shulchan Aruch that you could be moisev as much as you want. I mean, these halachas had a split it. Previous year we spoke about aim, but you have to be goyim and bedavatoy. You can't every 3 psukim. You have to these halachas. So be'etzem you could add as many aliyahs as you want. However, being that this Shabbos Rosh Chodesh is also one of the chiyuvim, Zok the Aruch HaShulchan, and in Shayos Tshuvas Marsham he brings a Hilchas Katanas of the earlier Achronim that say that the maximum of this week should be 8. Why? Because Mafter is Eino Oila Ben Aminyan. If you're going to make Haisafas now, it comes out that the Rosh Chodesh is not part of it. Being that the Rosh Chodesh is not part of the Chiyuv HaKruyim, and we want it to be part of the Chiyuv HaKruyim, so if every week you do 8, you should do a total of 8, which means this week the first Parshas HaShavua should be 6, Rosh Chodesh should be the 7th, which is part of the Chiyuv, and then Mafter 8, not to do Haisafas. So Lakan, Me'idach the Mishnah Berurah says you could do Haisafas even in such a week. He brings some to Pri Chodesh. The Marsham says, however the minhag is it's okay, but it's interesting to know. There's a shaila about making Haisafas.
I think it's a stick.
Now I want to just try to finish up. I'm be moichel a drop over time, but I just want to try to finish here. Negei Mamashta now. Usually on a regular Parshas HaShavua, when could the Kohen be Oila? The first Aliyah? If you make Haisafis, this is Negei to Yushlam Yosef, you make Haisafis, the last Aliyah before Kaddish, only if these Haisafis, and Mafter. That's Klor the Halacha. This week, is Ogun the Poskim, the Mishnah Berurah brings it, that a Kohen should not be Oila that last Aliyah of the Parshas HaShavua Mishpatim if you make Haisafis. Why? Since we weren't Goymer yet, the Chiyuv HaKriya, there's still more Aliyahs that are from the Chiyuv. So Mamela, the Kohen, a regular week, the Kohen could be Oila the last Aliyah, the Achron before Kaddish. Here he should not be Oila, only Rosh Chodesh and Shekalim. it's the same amount of aliyahs that a kohen can be oila like a regular week, but not an additional one of the regular achron and then Rosh Chodesh. Also, it can be oila Rosh Chodesh and Shekalim, not Parshas Hashavua at the end b'chlal. Simchas Torah, it's grabbed different. The kohen can be oila chas and Torah, chas and bereishis, and mafta, because over there the chas and bereishis, like the Torah says, is only, it's a minhag to show the Satan will say, look, they finished the Torah, they're done. So maybe we stop bereishis also. But akapanim this week the kohen shouldn't be oila. Where do you put the Kaddish? Where do you put the Kaddish? So Tosfos and Megillah says that on a regular Shabbos we put the Kaddish before Mafter, lahafsik, to show the first 7 aliyahs a chiyuv, and the last aliyah is only an addition. It's not part of the Zayin Akriyim. We find other places lahafsik also. Ksuba, read the Ksuba to be mafsik between Kedushin and Nesuin. So Mela what? So Mela over here, what would come out is you put the Kaddish, you say the Kaddish before the Mafter, that says after a Chodesh, before the Shekalim. What do you do with the Sefer Torah? Where do you put the Sefer Torah down? Is Mavur in Siman Kuf Mem Zayin, that when you have 2 Sefer Torah, even a week, a time you have 2 Sefer Torah, Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh, or even in the week, not even in the week, a time when you have a Mafter, so what you do is you say Kaddish between the first Sefer Torah and the Mafter. So is Mavur, you put down the second Sefer Torah before you say Kaddish. So like this, the Kaddish goes also on the second Sefer Torah. What's about this week that you have 3 Sefer Torah? Do you put down the third Sefer Torah also? I mean the first one, I'm sorry. The third you put down. So the Kaddish goes on the third one also. But you're holding now between the second and the third. The third already had Hagba and Galila. It's already, someone's holding it. Do you put down that first one? Do you have 3 Sefer Torah? The answer is no, for 2 reasons. One reason, Zakta Chemed Moshe, that the Kaddish that you said, no, Fakedi says that it's a bezoyin. It's a bezoyin to put a Sefer Torah down on the beam if you're not going to read from it. So this first Sefer Torah, you're ready with Korah, but you're putting it down on the beam, you're not going to be Korah, so you don't put it down. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is Mavur in the Levush and the Prima Garden. He says that once you read already from the Sefer Torah, the Kaddish goes on that Sefer Torah as well. The third Sefer Torah that you didn't read from, so the Kaddish doesn't go on it, but the first Sefer Torah you read already, the Kaddish goes on it. Memela, Shabbos, not Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh. Let's say one time when you take out 2 Sefer Torah during the year, Chanukah Rosh Chodesh, you take out 2 Sefer Torah, and the Kaddish over there goes where? After the second Sefer Torah, because there's no Mafter. So the Kaddish is at the end, not Lahafsik. What's with the first Sefer Torah? You do not put back the first Sefer Torah. Remember this for next year Chanukah. You don't put the Sefer Torah back on. First of all, because you already read from the first Sefer Torah, so the Kaddish goes on that. Also, it's a bezoyin. Me'idach, I hear it's a Shaila. Yisker, I don't know. No, 1 second. Yisker, you put it down because people go out. A good Shaila. Me'idach, the Magen Avram brings that there are those that are noyig, yes, to put down the first Sefer Torah. So if you'll be in a shul and they put down all 3, he brings from the Avudram. Lamaisa, the Minhag Ha'olam is not to put back down the first Sefer Torah, either because the Kaddish anyways goes on it, or because it's a bezoyin. Just to conclude, when you put down the third Sefer Torah, or actually even the second Sefer Torah, which side do you put it? Do you put it on the right side or on the left side? The second... Why? The left's very good, Menachem. Why? To Santa, you put it on the left, and the right one is the one you do Hag B'Klila. Reb Menashe Klein explains because of Eimavir Nala Mitzvahs, because the Balkoira is standing on the left. If you're going to put the new Sefer Torah on the right, it's Mavir Nala Mitzvahs. You're taking away the Sefer Torah from in front of him, not to lane. That's what he says, Samela, put the new Sefer Torah down closer to the Balkoira.
That's the actual reason.
That's what he says. I don't know if maybe others, I didn't see anyone else say a reason, but that's what he says, to put it on the left. One last thing, if a person does not have only 1 Sefer Torah, which that also happens, shuls that only have 1 Sefer Torah, and Mamela you go a little back and forth and back from a Shpatim to Rosh Chodesh, back to Shekalim, being that the Kaddish that we say between Shekalim and between Rosh Chodesh and Shekalim is on in between, and the Kriya is on, the Kaddish is the one you were Koira already, you should make sure to be goylel back to Shekalim only after Kaddish. It's important. If the works out needs to be Shaberach over there, first let him say Kaddish, because the Kaddish is the one you just, after Chodesh, that's the place for sure, but before you goylel the Sefer Torah away from Chodesh to Shekalim, you should say the Kaddish over there. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah.